This Black History Month, we celebrate the theme, Standing Firm in Power and Pride. Across centuries and continents, countless Black men and women have stood tall in the face of injustice, defying odds and rewriting history. Today, we honor 8 of them, visionaries, leaders, and change-makers whose strength still inspires us today. First, we journey to colonial Brazil to learn about Zumbi dos Palmares. Zumbi dos Palmares was the leader of Quilombo dos Palmares, a community of escaped enslaved Africans in colonial Brazil. Born into slavery, he escaped as a child and grew into a skilled warrior, strategist, and symbol of resistance. Under his leadership, Palmares became a thriving independent settlement that resisted repeated assaults from Portuguese and Dutch forces for nearly a century. Today, he stands as a symbol of unity and resistance, the embodiment of Black pride. Meet Beryl Gilroy, born in British Guiana, now Guyana. She migrated to Britain in the 1950s and became the UK's first Black female headteacher. Facing open racism in the classroom and within the education system, she stood her ground with grace and determination, insisting that every child deserved dignity and opportunity. She transformed schools with her nurturing but firm approach, earning admiration from pupils and colleagues alike. Beyond teaching, Gilroy was also a trailblazing writer. Her autobiographical novel Black Teacher laid bare her struggles and triumphs in post-war Britain, while her later works explored Caribbean heritage and women's lives. In both literature and education, she embodied resilience, paving the way for future generations of Black British educators and writers. Chinua Achebe, often referred to as the father of African literature, revolutionized how the world viewed Africa through his groundbreaking novel, Things Fall Apart. By writing in English yet deeply rooted in Igbo culture, he reclaimed African narratives from the colonial gaze, presenting a nuanced, dignified portrayal of pre-colonial life and the upheaval caused by European conquest. Achebe's work carried immense pride in African identity, countering stereotypes of primitiveness and passivity. His essays and novels challenged both colonialism and post-colonial corruption, making him a literary figure and a moral voice. Through his art and activism, Achebe showed that words could be weapons of power and cultural liberation. Next, meet Pearl Prescod. She was born in Tobago and came to Britain in the 1950s. Pearl broke barriers as an actress and singer during a time when opportunities for Black performers were painfully limited. She performed with the National Theatre and on stage in Shakespeare, defying the typecasting and marginalisation that Black women in the arts faced. Her presence on British stages was itself an act of resistance, asserting pride in her craft and heritage. Offstage, Prescod worked alongside Claudia Jones and other activists, helping to organise the early Notting Hill Carnival as a celebration of Caribbean culture and resilience in the face of racism. She used both her art and her activism to carve out space for Black identity in Britain, leaving a legacy of cultural pride and community empowerment. Dr. Harold Moody arrived from Jamaica in 1904 and graduated top of his medical class, only to face doors slammed in his face because of his race. Undeterred, he opened his own successful practice in Peckham, where he served patients with dignity and compassion regardless of race or background. In 1931, he founded the League of Coloured Peoples, one of Britain's first civil rights organisations. The League campaigned against racial discrimination in housing, employment and education, and supported Caribbean and African students in Britain. Moody stood firm in his belief that racism could be confronted through persistence, faith and unity, making him a pioneer of Black British activism. Few could light up a room like Winifred Atwell. The Trinidadian pianist became a sensation in 1950s Britain. Trained in classical piano, she captivated audiences with her honky-tonk style, switching between refined concert works and lively ragtime. She broke barriers by becoming the first Black woman to top the UK singles chart, a feat that made her an international celebrity. Atwell's success was not without challenges. She faced racism in the entertainment industry and often had to work twice as hard to be taken seriously as a classical musician. Yet she embraced her roots and delighted in connecting with everyday audiences. Her career was a proud reminder that Black women could excel on their own terms in spaces that tried to exclude them. Paul Stephenson, a name synonymous with change. In 1963, he led the Bristol Bus Boycott after the city's bus company refused to hire Black or Asian workers. His leadership forced a reversal and ignited Britain's civil rights movement. His activism didn't stop there. He fought for racial equality in housing, education, and policing, and later became a trusted advisor to government bodies. Stevenson's determination, charm, and refusal to accept second-class citizenship made him a symbol of Black pride and a key architect of social change in modern Britain. And finally, Baroness Doreen Lawrence, who became one of Britain's most respected campaigners after the racist murder of her son, Stephen Lawrence, in 1993. Faced with grief and a police force that failed her family, she transformed personal tragedy into a fight for justice. Her persistence led to the landmark Macpherson Report of 1999, which acknowledged institutional racism within the Metropolitan Police, a turning point in British race relations. Doreen Lawrence was made a life peer in 2013 and continues to advocate for justice, equality, and opportunities for young people through the Stephen Lawrence Foundation. She has stood with unwavering dignity against hostility and systemic resistance, becoming a beacon of power and pride for Black Britain and beyond. From Brazil to Britain, from classrooms to courtrooms, from music halls to movements, these 8 lives remind us what it means to stand firm in power and pride. Remember, history isn't confined to 1 month, it's 24/7, 365. Let's not only remember the people who helped shape the future, let's carry their strength forward. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please share with friends, and don't forget to like and subscribe. If you can hit the thanks button, it will go a long way to keeping the lights on. See you again soon.